cross-Atlantic travel. We've got lovers. We've got Eddie Redmayne. And, oh my gosh, New Jersey. This is the Four Weddings and a Funeral after show here at AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Y'all, we are back for our final episode of season 1 of Four Weddings and a Funeral. I am one of your hosts, Nikki Bailey. I am joined by the amazing and beautiful Marielle Turner.
Hey guys.
And the stunning and gorgeously, amazingly attractive Eric Sindley.
What's up?
Thank you. Guys, we've got a lot to talk about today. I'm doing my accent, I don't know why, but we're going to get into all the couples. Right, we're going to talk about all the couples. We're going to talk about, we're going to do our special segment. We've got news. We've got so much to get into. And I might just talk like this the entire time. I don't know.
Your accent's amazing.
Thank you.
To say.
Thank you. I had a British roommate at university and taught me how to do this. Anyway, listen. Let's get into it. You ready?
Let's do it.
We're ready.
Right. So, overall impressions of this episode, Marielle, darling.
I very much enjoyed it. I think it was the perfect rom-com ending for a rom-com series. Yeah, I think it was good. It was great.
I loved this episode. This was my favorite episode. And you know, sometimes a finale doesn't live up to what you hope it's going to be like. And this exceeded my expectations. And I was sold. And I'm hoping for season 2.
100% agree with both of you. This was such a satisfying ending, such a satisfying episode. I loved all of it. I felt like I had highs, I had lows. I would have cried if people hadn't kept interrupting me. In fact, Eric opened the door, popped his head in just to see if I was crying.
Yeah, true story.
And I wasn't, because people kept coming in and out of the room. But I would have cried had I not been interrupted. So, let's talk about the couples, shall we?
Yes.
Who should we start with?
I think we ought to start with Zara and Craig.
Craig.
Well,
not as much happened with them this episode. Their stuff's already mostly resolved. But go ahead, Eric.
I loved how the episode opened with how they showed the timeline of how things had progressed over the year. And we found out that Zara and Craig had a baby. They had their baby. Mm-hmm. And Molly is now part of the picture of the blended family, and Craig is the new soccer dad.
Yeah.
So
I was excited about that. At first I wasn't sure if Molly knew who he was now, but then I'm guessing with him, coaching soccer,
she said dad.
Yeah. Did she say
dad?
I meant to go back and rewind and check
those
that.
damn people kept opening the door and interrupting you.
They did. It's true.
Yeah, I had to rewind it to see, because I was like, did she call him dad? But she did, and I loved how the family seemed so happily blended, like the wife and then his, I guess, baby mama, if you want to call her that,
right.
Where they were all there together, and she was babysitting not only Molly, but then she was also going to watch the new baby as well, and they just seemed like very happy and very much a family, and yeah, I think that's great for Craig and Zara.
I love that too. I thought, so mature that you can, get to the point
exactly
where you can leave your child with your baby mama. I don't know. Do English people say baby mama?
I think they say baby mum.
Baby mum. Baby mum. Yeah, I like that too. I like that we got to see. Obviously a year passed because we saw the ever so corny bit with Kash in the beginning, walking down the street, going through the seasons.
Did you guys get the reference?
Yes. What was it from? I can't. Wait.
I
knew
that.
it. I remember this being oh yeah, this is familiar. It's cheesy. What's it from?
It's from Notting Hill.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
It's from Notting Hill. It's the same thing in the movie. They break up and he goes through a whole year through the seasons, walking through London neighborhoods. So I thought that was a nice, you know,
another little hint from another rom-com.
To like the rom-com fans. But yes, Notting Hill, that's where that was from.
I knew it was familiar. Thank you.
Good catch.
Awesome, good catch. So yeah, so like Zara and Craig, apparently Craig is like a super protective dad over both of his daughters because Zara had to trick him into leaving the country for the wedding. So I thought that was funny, and I love that Craig's getting to be a daddy now. That's so good. Marielle, is there anything you'd like to say to our wonderful AfterBuzz fans?
Yes, so before we move on to the next amazing couple on 4 Weddings, we just wanted to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk, and for us to continue to grow, we could really use your help. So if you're on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, make sure you give us 5-star rating. The rest of them don't work. And also make sure to subscribe. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so that you can get involved in the conversation. We have Eric here. We have the live chat up. We're going to shout you out. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us, and we truly appreciate you supporting us and doing what we love. So don't forget to tell your friends, family, and keep on enjoying our show.
Hit us up.
Guys, we love you. Oh my God. Okay, so... All right, so let's talk about Tony and Andrew. I like how they did a little kind of like flip on us. I saw the invitation, and I'm thinking, what? Tony and Andrew getting hitched? Turns out that they were inviting people to come to Tony's citizenship ceremony, which is nice. And he apparently did it the like official way, not by marriage, because they aren't married. And he did his whole swearing in and everything. I hope that the rest of his family also got to be citizens of the UK.
Yeah. I thought it was nice. Honestly, I was a little disappointed because I kind of sorry guys, wrong pipe. I kind of wanted to see the last wedding be Tony and Andrew.
Yeah.
But I love that he got his citizenship, and he seems so elated to have it that I think that was a nice moment.
Yeah.
I think independence was very imperative and huge for Tony, and I think him getting his citizenship without getting married was so important to him and his family, and I think once everything settles in, then they'll get married. I think...
I agree. I feel like, and also I think probably good for Andrew's career too, because if he had married an immigrant just to give him citizenship, then that wouldn't have looked good for him either. So I thought it was great, and I also loved again Tony's outfits, everything he was wearing, fab.
Shout out to Sal.
I was super surprised, right? Yeah, shout out to Salvador Perez. I was super surprised that they were at the wedding in New Jersey.
I think overall their storyline tonight was quiet. I don't think they really gave us much to talk about except for the fact that they're happy. And yeah, they did go to the wedding. But why are you surprised?
Because I didn't think that Tony and Andrew had as much reason to connect with Gemma and Duffy.
I kind of just thought since Ainsley was so present in that wedding planning that's maybe why I thought they were there.
I think it's kind of just that
they
whole
had
like
to be there.
they had to be there exactly like that
they weren't
rom-com
going to exclude
ending.
them. Yeah.
In real life, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But for the show, it's like, yes, let's get them all in the same place. Like, and
Same
be
group of
happy.
friends.
True.
Keep the
Yeah.
circle
True.
together, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good point. Very good point. So then we have Ainsley and Brice. And I feel like the other couples are not so easy to talk about without mentioning the other couples, like the connections. But Ainsley and Brice, okay, so when I saw that they was getting married, I was like, she ain't ready for that. She don't, cause I was like, she's still salty.
Yeah, I thought the same.
And so the fact that they, that she's still not reading Maya's letter, she's still bitter, that she's talking about Kash constantly, making her little snide remarks, Brice was not having it. I love that Brice has so much integrity. You know, like that he is so, I think one of the stereotypes about men in general, but definitely men from Texas is that they don't talk about feelings, or that they're, that they're too manly to have feelings. And I like that he was like, look, if you are hooked up, if you're still like, like it's hurting me that you keep talking about this dude, and if you're still into him, then this won't work.
Yeah.
Have you seen Sex and the City, the movie?
Yes.
Do you know it pretty well?
I do.
I knew it pretty well.
The scene where Carrie gets mad at Big when Big gets mad at Carrie for the guest list being too big, that was it was a replica of that scene. And I've realized that was a very present rom-com that they implemented into this show.
Yeah, it really was. And it absolutely mirrors the whole dynamic between Big and Carrie, when Carrie was getting over just sort of
like too into the
obsessed
wedding.
with the whole wedding thing. You're right.
Yeah.
And where Big didn't have the cojones to tell Carrie what he was feeling, thankfully Brice did, and was able to, get Ainsley to come to her senses.
Yeah. And
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he had a great point, because if you're marrying somebody and like throughout the whole process they're like, well, I'm just so happy this is like going to be shown to my ex so they can be jealous and angry. And he did this and he didn't like massages and like I could see where you would be like, okay, why do you even like, what is the real motivation here to get married? So I totally understood why he was like, hey, if you're not over him, we don't even need to do this.
I feel like he's like been there, done that part of his life. And they eventually Ainsley comes around, and I loved that they were sitting in the church and they decided not to get married, and they just decided to take the vow to each other. And I just, I wrote this is so 2019. There was no script on how marriage should be these days, or even that you have to get married. Absolutely. Like, I mean, I think that's such it's a valid choice in a way that it's never been before, to choose to be coupled without getting the piece of paper. So I thought that was wonderful as well. I loved that. And I especially loved that Brice kept all the letters from Maya. Yes, that was awesome.
I mean, that's love right there. You know what I'm saying?
He's a good guy. He's
right?
a good guy. And I also really liked that Ainsley was kind of like, the only reason I did this big elaborate wedding and got engaged and all this stuff was to prove something to other people.
Yes.
And I think that is so true and relevant, especially as you get to be 30 and it's like this whole pressure of like, okay, am I settling down? Who am I getting married? And sometimes people do it just for the recognition of others or to validate the relationship in some way. So that's a lot of money for some validation. It is. You know what? You could put that money toward a house, you'd be all right. I thought that Brice keeping Maya's letters reminded me of The Color Purple, when she when Suge Avery helps Celie get the letters that have been coming from her sister, and then Celie goes off and reads them. I was like, oh, Maya's being Celie right now, reading the letters. Anyway, sorry, I skipped ahead to... Go ahead, or? I was going to say, it is Sex and the City, because if you remember in that movie,
yes, all the...
Big sent her letters for a whole year, and then she didn't read them till the very end. Yeah, so. What else? There's another one, too, with emails. Was there another show, another film where... they had been sending emails the whole time and going and being filtered into what was it? This isn't emails. This is actually in The Notebook. Sorry, guys. I'm like a rom-com
I haven't
girl.
seen The Notebook.
I've never seen it. I read the book, though.
Okay. So in The Notebook.
You got one up on me then.
Noah writes Allie every day for a year, and then she doesn't read them, but her mom saves them and gives them to her at the end. It's like this big, huge romantic moment. So, yeah, definitely reminiscent of that,
definitely
too.
Loving it. So then let's move into Duffy and Gemma, because they are the couple du jour of this episode, the couple day episode. Do episode. I don't know French. Anyway, so I mean, we see that Duffy has been spending his nights with Gemma, but he's sneaking out in the morning.
I love that. And it turns out that Giles has known. Because
kids always know. Kids always know. Yeah. So true. So I love that they are there, that they're together, but they're not talking about it, which I think is so interesting for Duffy in particular, who is like a guy who seems to me like he needs to express himself, like he needs to, and so like that they would go so long without having a conversation about what their relationship is. To me, it struck me as so polite. Like, I am not polite enough to let a year go by without some kind of definition in this relationship. Like, I need a conversation. So I was like, that's such a weird thing to me that it went so long without them talking about it.
I think, and I can't speak from experience, but I think when you're dating a widower, widowee or widower?
Widow.
Yeah,
A widow.
Widower is a man whose wife has died.
Okay. So, widow.
I
think you have to walk on you feel like you have to walk on eggshells a bit. And like you said, yeah, he was just so respectful, and for whatever reason, he didn't say how he was truly feeling, but eventually, Duffy's mom being sick kind of pushed Gemma to say how she was feeling.
Yeah.
And she finally was like, I'm done giving into the stigma and the society pressure of me not being able to date someone just after a year of my husband dying, and me feeling guilty, and me having a kid, and is it too soon? And so she finally was like, you know what? Screw society, screw the stigma.
She's like, I don't need to be appropriate.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm always appropriate.
I think that was a big theme of the episode. It's like kind of how people will base their relationships off of what they're supposed to do as opposed to what really feels right. And I think ultimately a lot of the characters chose what feels right for them, and that's why they kind of got their happy ending, so to speak.
But
I like that thought process.
And it's little things like this, and it might seem silly, but when shows implement these kinds of tactics and these societal stigmas, it does get us evolving, and it might be a slow movement, but it's movement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when people see it, it puts things into fruition for us, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
I think that's a really great insight. I also loved that one of the things I thought when Duffy got the message that his mom was sick, and he's like, I'm going to leave right now and go to New Jersey, I was like, oh great, I'm finally going to get myself a rush to the airport moment, because of all of the rom-com things, a rush to the airport for love is absolutely necessary. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is Gemma not rushing to the airport? And as I was saying that, one of the producers here walked into the room, and I talked to the television while I am watching it. And I was like, Gemma, rush to the airport. And Jeff was like, what? She's not rushing to the airport? I'm like, I know. He does no idea what I was talking about. But he was supportive, and I appreciate that. So Duffy goes home. He goes to see his mama. She's got cancer. She's sick. His mom is delightful. Just delightful and funny and goofy. And you're like, oh, that's where Duffy gets the goofy from.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, that was really sweet. And he finally, he sees Maya on the airplane. And that's what makes him finally call Gemma and say, I need you to know how I feel. And I loved that.
I love you, he said.
Yeah.
That moment where she didn't say it back, and he was like, okay, just, send me an email when you're... And
I laughed.
Dying
Yeah,
laughing.
all right, good. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
I was cringing. I was like, nah! Oh my gosh. And then he hangs up the phone. He's like, oh, F, he didn't say F. Oh, darn.
But maybe I think that's what Gemma needed to hear.
To push her into action.
She plays some games.
Yeah.
I mean, she is dealing with the loss of her husband, but she's definitely, and almost like like we've said, she's waiting for him to make that move, and she wants him to make that move.
And I think she needed to know that he was in love and that they weren't just having sex, because she's going to put her family at risk.
Yeah,
and her son, she needs to know that this is real. And so for him to confess that, I'm sure was like, that's it for her,
Yeah.
I really loved that too. Yeah. What did you guys think of, I loved what she said to him while they were sitting on the bench, and she's kind of proposing to him. And she says, you never know what might happen. Your husband might die, your mother might get sick, whatever. And in those moments, you need to know who your people are, and you're my people. Now, I didn't cry during the show,
but here it comes.
I almost just cried
here
just
it
now
comes.
because.
And then they look out and you see Duffy's mom, and she says, "What'd she say?" And let's get married soon so all of our people can
be
join.
there. Yeah. Oh.
I thought, at first I really was not here for Gemma and Duffy because I was like, this doesn't make sense, and Duffy just wants love. But I think when you put in the context of like Duffy hasn't gone through loss yet, but he's gone through like the trauma of his parent being very sick and probably is going to die soon. And then Gemma has already gone through a loss. It makes sense why they would kind of bond over that.
Yeah.
And it also, because at first I was like, they're getting married, but that also kind of makes sense when you put in the context of like being very aware of life and death and how tomorrow isn't promised. And so I think by the episode I was like, oh, I really like them together now.
Yeah, I like them together too. And there's something about when you're someone who has dealt with deep grief, there's something really comforting about having someone near you who gets that as well. So I think that's going to be, I think even the whole idea, like if she was going to, I'm sure Gemma was like, if I wait for Duffy to propose to me, his mom is going to miss this. And like, she knows the importance of saying what you need to say before someone passes away. And so like, I love that she understood in that moment what needed to be done. It was so moving, so beautiful. And that thing about you're my people, like, that is so real. So like, I am a queer person and I am in a relationship with a woman, and most people who are in the LGBT, or many people in the LGBTQ community, we've had to create our own families because our families of origin are not as supportive as they want to be. Mine's cool, but other people. But you end up sort of having a really clear sense of like, I need to create family. I need to find my people in the world. And so that's so important because even if we're not related by blood, just that you're walking with me on this journey, which I love about this group of friends, that they are obviously each other's people, and that even if they hurt each other deeply, they find a way to come back together.
Yeah.
Amen.
Agreed.
Yeah. So let's move on then to the couple. Dun dun dun. It's been a year. Kash and Maya have not spoken. Maya's been writing letters to Ainsley, begging for forgiveness, trying to explain. And her pleas have fallen on deaf ears, and she still loves Kash, and he still loves her, but how? When will they get together? Did you guys like that? I'm going to use that on an audition.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great.
And I'm going to use that on an audition. Bust how Kash goes on an audition for Henry VIII. And at the end of the audition, the casting person's like, you were really good. That never happens in an audition.
Yeah, that was weird.
Never. It's the thing we wish would happen at the end of an audition. You guys
Why did they do that?
My hope was, I had two reasons that I think. One is that the people who work on the show, the writers and actors who work on the show, are like, let's give actors a little something, like a little support. And the other reason is that I think that we needed to see someone outside of Kash's head validate that he's really talented, so that we could be okay with him spending the next year in England when Maya's in New York.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think you're on point with both points.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an actor, so I always just thought this kind of how it went in auditions. But it's good to know that it's a lot trickier than that.
They don't look at you. They just be like this. You do your thing, and then when you're done, they're like, thanks, and they leave, and you're not sure how you did. You don't know what just happened. You just want someone to tell you that you're good at what you do. So that was a nice little moment. I was like, oh, I wish that would happen to me.
It's going to. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you.
It's just a matter of time.
So, but Kash gets cast in a huge production of Henry VIII, starring Eddie Redmayne. Hello.
Yeah, I was like, is he
From-
on West End? Like,
Right.
that's pretty impressive.
You know, like, big deal, right? So, go Kash. But Kash is like, you know, he's like going through his life. He's made his life about his work. But I love that we see in the beginning, especially when they're going through that whole 1 year transition, and we're seeing sort of Kash's life. We see that Asif, Kash's brother, has had multiple girlfriends, and we see that Bashir and Fatima get pregnant and have a baby.
So cute.
So cute. I love Bashir, and so that was really fun to see. And then also we get to see what's going on with Maya, and Maya is now running for office
Yay.
in the United States. Whatever.
With Marcus being
With
her
Marcus
assistant.
as
I
her
loved
That
that.
was awesome how they did that.
Yes, I loved it. Like, their dynamic is everything. I love
Yeah,
it.
you know, they're like frenemies, and like
He's
the
hilarious.
best
He
way.
is
He really
hilarious.
is. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I love that too. And so Maya and Kash, though, are still obsessed with each other. They're like stalking each other on the social medias, and Maya's stalking Ainsley on the social medias, and Marcus is like, move on. Like, come on.
I did have one thing about this whole thing, though. I didn't think it was cool that the whole friend group stopped talking to Maya
Yeah.
for a whole year.
Word.
I'm like, that's a little ridiculous, guys.
That was extreme.
Yeah. Ainsley, sure, but everybody...
I wrote that in my notes. What kind of friends are these?
Yes.
That like because look, at some point in your adult life, you were gonna have a fight with your friend group. That does not mean you end the friendship.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
Yeah.
And so
Between two friends in the group.
everybody don't have to be involved in that.
There you go.
Yeah, grown people should be able to have conflict without ending relationships.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was messed up.
And
I agree.
it seemed like that Maya was kind of the head or the ringleader of these group of friends, and for everyone to exile her out, it just seemed like, why wasn't anyone being like, you know what, Maya has been there for all of us. She's been there through all of our crap that's happened in our life. Why aren't we reaching out? Why are we so gung-ho on taking Ainsley's side in this?
Yeah, don't take sides at all.
Don't take sides, right,
Stay neutral, like Switzerland.
I think it was easy for them to do, though, because, I mean, when the show first started, Maya lived in New York while the three other friends were in London together, still really close, right? And so she was always the sort of one who wasn't there, you know?
Oh,
and
yeah.
So it probably didn't feel, I mean, as much as they may have missed her, it probably didn't feel that strange if she's back she's back in the States, they're back here, they just went back to what they were doing before, maybe. I don't know.
But not as extreme and not so cutthroat.
And not so cut
Yeah.
off, right? Like that they would not be in touch with her at all.
Like,
It's
I just can't see myself not talking to one of my best friends from when I was, like, a teenager in college because
Right.
they had an issue with another one of my friends. Like,
Right.
But I think what kind of spearheaded everything is when Maya finds out that Ainsley's engaged, and then Ainsley calls Craig to confirm.
Maya calls Craig, yeah.
Maya, sorry. I think that's, and then Craig says, I miss you. I think that's kind of what moved things along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you stay friends, obviously. What I was going to say before is you stay friends with the friends who did the bad thing, but you tell them all the time, you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love you, but you wrong, you know?
Yep, that
But,
part.
That's what, and I totally, I totally think that the friendship group needed someone to make a first move, and Maya doing that and calling Craig was the exact perfect thing. And for him to say, I'm sure she'd love for you to be in her, in her thing, was great. So then Maya goes back to London, and she does the whole Love Actually thing with the cards again, just, whatever. And Ainsley, who had just been hollered at by her Brice, still couldn't forgive her in that moment. Like, come on.
I thought it was coming. I thought forgiveness was coming, and the door slammed in her face.
The door slammed right at her face.
Yeah, me too. I think you could at least invite her in for a
tears.
drink or something.
Yeah.
You know?
And Maya got right back in the car and goes back to Heathrow but she sees the sign of Kash,
Of course
like
she
in the
did.
play. Like, why don't you go? Girl, you in London. Don't just stay longer.
I think that was a smart move, though, because I think
do
if
too.
she had gone and then Ainsley had found that
Yeah.
out, she wouldn't have
You're
gotten
right.
to
It
the
would have changed
place
everything.
You're right.
of
You're right.
forgiveness.
You're right.
Yep.
You're right. I just want these people to be better friends. Yeah, I wrote, what kind of friends dump you like that? Why did they have to choose? So Maya does the I Love Actually card thing. And so we finally, Duffy invites Maya to his wedding because no matter what happened, he's like, you can't miss the biggest thing of my life. She comes, and while that's all kind of going down, Ainsley reaches out to Kash to get the real story. And I think what she wants to know is, did this start while we were together? Like, were you sleeping with her at our wedding? And she finds out, no. Like, this happened way after. And plus, I haven't spoken to her in a year. And I think that
was a pivotal moment.
Yep, that's what
that
did
was a
it.
huge moment for Ainsley. Like, to realize that they both have abstained from true love because of their love for her, because of Maya's love for her. I think that's huge.
And her, like, making peace with the end of that relationship, I think, was necessary for her own relationship and for her to have forgiveness.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. So let's talk about the way that Ainsley gets Kash to the wedding.
That was genius.
So smart.
That was amazing because Kash was not agreeing to come. He was like, "Look, that door is closed. We're both trying to move on." And then Ainsley's like, "All right, fine. I'm gonna tell you. Duffy and Maya are getting married." He's like, "What? All right, I'm on the next plane."
Yeah.
Sense of urgency.
And I finally get my run to the airport moment.
Finally.
Yes.
And wonderful call out on the rom-com issues, because when that happens in a rom-com, usually they can get on the plane without a problem. But here, the ticket agent's like, the ticket is sold out. And then, yay, Kash's dad works at the airport, and he's like, hook him up. And so he finally gets to go. It's very exciting.
I love when the ticket agent said people don't get divorced. I was like, yes.
She's like, hold it.
Some realism.
Just wait a minute. They can get divorced.
Love that.
Right?
I love that.
And so Kash's dad is like, good luck, have fun storming the castle, whatever. He's like, go get her. Though he couldn't remember who he was going to get. And then Kash storms into Duffy and Gemma's wedding and says, stop, I love you.
And I know you love me too. And Gemma's like, no, I don't.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And then Duffy, like, are you trying to ruin all the weddings?
Right,
Yeah.
do you have to ruin all? He's like,
Sit
dude,
down.
could you sit down? Yeah. So, and then obviously Kash and Maya have their kiss, and finally they're together, and everybody's together, and they dance the night away and live happily ever after.
I think the only thing I wish, and this is why this will probably tie into something I'm going to share a little bit later, but I'm hoping for season 2 because I want to see more Kash and Maya in an actual relationship and like more of that, because I feel like so much of the show was them loving each other but not being together. So I would love to see them together.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I know we're on a time crunch a bit, but I loved how Ainsley acted when she came around and it was just so full circle. And like it was like a real life like emotion that had come over her.
Yeah.
Very mature.
Yeah, it's
That was
she
like my favorite part of tonight's episode.
Yeah, it's like she got back to her values, and she remembered that this
important
is my
stuff.
best friend, and like, and love matters, and she remembered all those things.
Yes.
And like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
like,
was really.
got goosebumps.
Aw, he really does. Aw.
And
That was
it
good.
wasn't like, oh yeah, it's fine, and then secretly like
Right,
upset in the
no,
corner. She was like dancing
active.
with them and like giving
Yeah.
her full support, and I love that.
Yay. Okay, so we are running low on time, but let's get down to, should we do the game or the top 3? What do you think? I think we're
do you
running low
think?
on time. Let's
Top 3?
do our top 3.
Top 3.
So, okay, it's the end of this season of the show. Potentially, we don't know what's going to happen next. So we wanted to talk about, because this show references so many great romantic comedies, we wanted to share with you what our top 3 favorite romantic comedies are. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Go.
Top 3, and if this doesn't tell you some of my favorite actors, I don't know what does. My Best Friend's Wedding.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
There isn't that much comedy, but there's some in there. Pretty Woman. The Wedding Singer, and a 4th one I just have to put as Bridesmaids.
Oh, Bridesmaids.
Nice,
That's an interesting one.
Nice. Like that Julia Roberts over there.
Yes.
Marielle?
Okay. Definitely Bridget Jones's Diary. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I will continue to watch it 1,000 times. Pretty Woman is another one. It's just a classic film. And then the last one is a tie. Love Actually, I also really love. And then The Notebook. I know it's not comedy, but like, come on. It's The Notebook. Like, it's amazing. So,
All right. I'm with that. I'm going to go with When Harry Met Sally as my all-time favorite movie ever.
That's a
I
good
could
one.
do every single line for it for you right now because I know it that well. So When Harry Met Sally, I'm going to give Love Actually the number 2 spot. And I think for my number 3, I'm going to go with The Princess Bride.
Oh, I love The Princess. There's just so many good
There's
ones.
so many good
honestly.
ones.
What Happens in Vegas is another favorite of mine.
Oh, that is a good
Sorry.
one.
And Pretty Woman, too, is another favorite of mine, except that the feminist in me can't love Pretty Woman anymore because...
Too woke.
because I got too woke. All right?
That
So,
happens.
we have some news to talk about, Mario.
We do. Gonna get into it. So basically, this is speculation at this point, but Mindy Kaling posted on her Twitter a video with the Love Actually cards, and it was saying that, you know, the season finale _season finale is tonight, to make sure to check it out. And in the tweet, she said, read the fine print. So a lot of fans are responding to this tweet in comments saying she said season finale and not series finale. And maybe this means that there is a season 2 because she said, read the fine print.
Well,
On the cards.
we were given some scoop that there is talks of a continuation. And we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
so-
Our sources, we cannot say too much because our sources, you know, would get in trouble. But we think there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah,
Love
of some
to see
sort.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, I am super, super excited about the possibility of that because this show was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how my mindset changed from the beginning to the end. Like, I do want to watch more.
Yeah, I want more. Like, I want to see Maya and Kash, like this beautiful
Gemma and
brown,
Duffy.
black love. Like, just grow, you know?
Let's do some predictions for season 2 then.
Okay.
Let's get into
Okay.
yeah. So if there's a season 2,
AfterBuzz TV.
prediction.
I wish I could predict some drama that would happen, but I don't know. I think only good things are coming to mind, but I think it would open up with Gemma holding her belly and she's pregnant. I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna say Ainsley is the pregnant one, only because I think that would continue with the theme of like them kind of doing things untraditional and like having the baby without getting married.
Yeah.
I can maybe see some kind of slight cultural clash between Kash and Maya, even though they're like so perfect together. But I think there has to be some kind of drama. So maybe it's like them figuring themselves out a little more, explaining their different cultures or something like that. And then let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think Zara is gonna end up on somebody's reality show.
I think they're gonna get divorced.
Zara and Craig?
Yeah.
Interesting. So I agree there has to be some, I mean, you can't tell a story without conflict, right? So there has to be a conflict. Right now everything's so neatly wrapped up.
Yeah.
But these are relationships and relationships are fraught with conflict. So many great ways that could happen. One, I do think I would like to see Tony and Andrew get married and Kash and Maya get married. And so those are great things that could happen in the second season. I could see Maya and Ainsley getting pregnant at the same time, and there being some conflict there, as well as the fact that also references other chick flicks when you have two best friends who are pregnant at the same time.
2 weeks notice?
That would be
2 weeks
so
notice.
With Hugh Grant?
I mean, there's that whole like best friend competition
That would
thing.
be great.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. So, they could even do Kash and Maya getting married, Ainsley and Brice for some reason finally getting married, and then they have like a whole. What was the movie with Anne Hathaway and
I forget the name of it. What you're talking about?
where they're both brides and they want to get married at
like
the
Bridal Wars with Kate Hudson. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So like there could be that. So I don't know. And then maybe Marcus will get to be a little bit more a part of the story next season.
we need more Marcus.
We need more Marcus.
We need more of it all, honestly.
Mindy, give us more.
Mindy, we want a season 2. Guys, we have so loved doing this after show with you. Thank you for sticking with us and being with us the entire way. We hope there will be a season 2 of Four Weddings and a Funeral. But in the meantime, if you want to hang out with us, where can the people find you, Eric Sinsley?
You guys can find me on all social media at Eric Sinsley.
Hey guys, you can find me on all socials at Mario_Turner.
And you can find me at Nikki Bailey_ on all the social medias. Guys, we had a blast. We love you to pieces. We will see you back here at AfterBuzz TV for something else because we have so many awesome shows. So hang out with us and we'll see you next season.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.